Here we have a 2014 Volkswagen Passat. It's fitted with the 2 litre TDi engine, the diesel engine, and it's done roughly 85,000 miles. This vehicle's recently failed its MOT on split front suspension arm, lower arm bushes, and they've actually caused the front tyres to scrub out. We're going to go ahead and change the bushes on the arms today. Before I take it up in the air to get the wheel off, we're going to crack the wheel bolts loose, something you're going to need, so make sure you know exactly where the locking wheel nut key is. It's not really a good idea to use an impact gun on a locking wheel nut key, you know, to loosen it or to do it up tight. I do use it sometimes after I've cracked it loose, or just to buzz it up loosely, because you can crack them and break them quite easily. Right, they're all loose. We'll do the same on the other side, then take it up in the air and get the front wheels off. Yeah, and you can actually see there, inside edge of that tyre's pretty low, bald. Yeah, getting quite thin now. The other side's actually a little bit worse. You can see the canvas. As with a lot of cars nowadays, got a big belly pan under tray, just a big plastic shield. It's held on with Torx 25 bolts, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. Torx 25 bolts and 3 Torx 45 bolts at the back end. So I've got both sides to do, both suspension arms, but we'll just show you one of them because it's the identical job. The actual bush on the back end here is all split. When the car's on the shaker plates for the MOT, that actually wobbles quite a bit, and that is what's caused the front tyres to scrub, being as both of them have split. I'm just going to give these a little soak with some penetrating oil. Try not to get it on the brake disc, which I have. I'll clean that off. A bit difficult to see up there, but that bolt I can't get to because it's in a box section, so I won't be lubricating that. Right, I'll grab my gun and see if I can get some of these bolts out. Here's the bush that I'm going to be replacing, complete with the aluminium housing. As you can see, it's this part here. So to do that job, we're going to undo these 3 bolts, take this one out here, and the 3 nuts there to remove the whole arm, and then we can put it in the vise and see how we go about getting that off. See if I can get my gun in there with an extension on it. Just makes it a bit quicker. That's it, one arm removed. I haven't done one of these before, but hopefully we can somehow get this bush off of here. Might take a bit of hammering, bit of chiselling. I expect in a main dealer environment you've probably got a attachment to put it on a press and just push the arm through out of the bush. But we're going to have to try and get it off using other means. And I'm just going to see what I can get off here. Yeah. So that's separated from the inner metal sleeve. Also got to try and get that off somehow. Which I'll give it a tap with a chisel and see if it moves, but I might end up having to angle grinder it just to split it, free it off a little bit. Of course you can buy the whole arm complete, but a lot more money. I think that's moving, yeah. And that's it. That's the old bush removed. Came off easier than I thought. A lot of the Ford ones, you end up cutting them with an angle grinder to release them, but while it's off, I'm just going to give this a dusting over with a file. It's all kind of rusted and pickled up a little bit, which will make fitting the new one very tight. So the main thing, once you've cleaned all of this up, is to make sure you get the bush in the right position. I've just taken the arm back to the car and made sure I've got this up the right way, round the right way, and that's how it goes. So I'm going to start just with a little bit of this penetrating oil again, just as a lubricant. It's quite thin stuff, it does eventually dry out. A bit like WD-40 really. It does go on without too much persuasion. I've got a rubber dead blow here just to... I think we're about there. Maybe a little bit more. Obviously, if you've got a press and the right fittings, you'll be able to push that on without too much trouble, but it doesn't seem to have done any damage fitting it that way. I just want to check with the other arm how much this protrudes out. It might need, you know, a socket or something putting on here and a little bit more tapping on, but I'm pretty sure that's almost there. So this needs to stick out about 4 or 5 mil, going by the other side. I'm going to try using this sleeve which I tapped off because it's still got rubber around the ends hopefully won't damage it too much. Oh yeah, that's going. So these bushes, there's a few different brands on the market, and this one, it's a pretty good name brand. Comes in at around £30. You can get cheaper ones for about half that price if you shop about. And as with all parts, when you're looking to purchase, all you generally need is a registration number, and then you know your dealer or your outlet can tell you what parts suit your particular car. And I haven't hit my thumb yet. That looks good to me. Yeah, that's home. So we'll go ahead now and get this bolted back up on the car. So another couple of bits to look for on the suspension arm. Clearly there's another bush here, a cotton reel shaped bush, but that's all intact. There's no splits, no free play, so that's good. Would have been tested on the MOT as well. And also you've got a lower ball joint here, but as you can see that unbolts separately anyway, so and that's all intact, no free play. Grab a screwdriver. It's a bit tight. Actually, I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the end of that. Right, they're all started by hand. Grab the gun and buzz those up. As with all fittings on a car, there will be torque figures, and if you've got a torque wrench kicking around, you can go ahead and torque them up. But as long as you're sensible, don't overdo it, but equally make sure they're nipped. I always like to double check things, although I know the air gun does things up tight. It's good to have a feel by hand as well, just for peace of mind. That looks all like it's sitting up there nicely. The bushes are both now fitted, as you can see, and the same the other side. Didn't film this side, it is identical job to that side. So as part of that job, really you need to be checking the front wheel alignment afterwards. We're putting 2 new front tyres on as well, so we don't want to be scrubbing those out. So to make sure the alignment's straight, I'll be using gauges on the wheels, but this is where you adjust the tracking. Here's your track rod end and the lock nuts and the track rod or tie bar, steering rack tie bar. All I want to do really is to clean all this muck off whatever I can. A bit easier while you're under here with the wheel off, just to prepare it really. Give it a bit of a spray with the oil. I'll grab a spanner and make sure that nut does come loose. Yeah. So the idea is, yeah, you'd crack this nut loose and then turn this rod to either lengthen it or shorten it, depending on whether the front wheels are towing in or out. I'm going to leave that now like that, just to soak for a little while. I'll nip that back up because I want to check the tracking before I adjust anything. I'll do the same with the other side, and we'll get the gauges on it once we get the wheels on. Right, so I only nip these up with a gun. Good idea to always check things afterwards, after you've used the gun. go too mad. As with everything, just make sure it's nipped. That feels good. So I've had the car up in the air, the wheels free. Before you can check the tracking, you really need to settle that front suspension back down again. So I just like to go lock to lock with the steering a few times. Maybe give it a bounce. And roll it forwards a bit as well. That should do. I'll grab the gauges, we'll hang them on and see where the tracking is really. Now these are the gauges that I've got, which you literally rest against the wheel rim. There's lots of different types on the market, but these are quite a commonly used set of gauges, which are pretty reliable. They're quite good, quite basic. You've got a mirror on this side, and on this side you've got a very dusty looking periscope, which you look down and you look across to the mirror and you'll see the reflection of this setup with the pointer in the middle and a line down there, and you basically move it like this until you get the line. There's two lines until they line up directly with the pointer. Then it gives you an indication of whether the front wheels are running parallel, towing out or towing in. So before they were towing out, so you're effectively going along not with the wheels straight but like this, so the inside edges of the tyres were scrubbing out. And in that case, with the steering rack at the back, you need to lengthen the steering rack tyre bars to bring it out parallel. So all I'll do next is check down here and hopefully we'll get a reading of whether it's parallel, towing in or towing out. Now that is towing out by just over 30 minutes. You've got one, you can see the one there, that's the 1 degree, 30 minutes. So towing out means I need to lengthen those tyre bars. So that's what I'm going to do next. I mean, obviously not everybody's got a set of tracking gauges at home, but you can get this done at pretty much any tyre fitting centre. I'd say roughly 25 to 30 pounds they charge. So you're a little bit restricted of what you can see here on the ground, but I've already loosened that nut off and twisted the rod out by about 1/4 of a turn. That's all I'm going to try first. And you have to do the same on both sides, otherwise you end up with a crooked steering wheel going down the road. You can set up your tracking parallel, but if you haven't done the same on both sides, yeah, you'll end up with a slightly crooked steering wheel, which I always find really annoying. Right, that's all nipped back up. I'll go around the other side and do the same. So now the job's complete. All that's left to do, which I do with pretty much any job I do on a car, take it out for a road test. Bring it back and double check the areas you've been working are all good. Thanks for watching. If you find our videos helpful, please hit like and subscribe to help us out. Nice one.